episode of EasyTalk is sponsored by Spotlight Productions. When it comes to quality, Spotlight Productions strives to deliver excellence. Welcome to another edition of EasyTalk, real talk for true entrepreneurs. And today, we're going to have some real talk. But let me pause for a second. Hear me real good. I need for you to subscribe and like this show now. Go ahead and subscribe, like, and then after you get all this good content, share it with someone so that they can better their business. Today on our show, we have my friend for years. I almost like to say we grew up together because we've been in this game for a long time doing a lot of things. And I want you guys to meet Antoine Lever. This is my photographer. So every picture that you see on my social media, this man right here did it. So Antoine is going to share with you the importance of high quality visuals and content creation to help your business to grow. Because first you need brand recognition. So without further delay, let me introduce to you guys Antoine Lever. Welcome.
Hey, how you doing?
So good to have you.
Yep, long time coming.
Yes, we talked about it for a long time, and now we're finally here. But you're a busy man. You're capturing the world, making memories, telling stories.
Yeah.
So tell the audience a little bit more about yourself. How did you get started? What was your passion? Something about you that they may not know.
Yeah, so pretty much this is roughly about my 15th year in the media industry. So doing photography, content creation, videos, and all that. It originally started off back when I was still in school, middle school, walking around campus with a camera. To high school, I did, yearbook photos or whatnot. Then eventually it came to college. And college, that's where things started to pick up a little bit. And I took some courses, some classes, but eventually I did like a real workshop with some big names down in Atlanta. And from there, everything kind of picked up. I started to invest a lot more, and then I started to see what my work does for other people, and that really started me, from there. So
I love one thing that you said already, and I know my audience picked up on this too. You invested in you.
Yeah.
As an entrepreneur, you have to invest in you.
Yeah.
Even at a young age, you knew that I've got to get abreast of what's going on in my industry. What does this content creation thing look like? And you went for it. And so you invested in you. Tell us a little bit about that. How did you know where to start investing in you?
That's the tricky thing about entrepreneurship, period. Like, you never know where to start. The most important thing is to actually start. That's it. So there's not always gonna be, a roadmap for you or a blueprint. Sometimes you just gotta, start putting all the pieces together where you see them. And so, so then outside of that, investing, nobody's gonna invest into you until you invest into yourself. And so for me, I had to make sure, I started to get some equipment. I didn't start off with the best equipment, but I started. And, and whenever people started to see me, walking around campus, doing college parties and probates and stuff like that, that's when people saw me, okay, Antoine, he's actually taking this serious. And so he's investing into his craft, his time, and let me go ahead and book a graduation session with him. Let's see where this takes him, or let's see what he gives me in return. And that's really how it started. That's how I actually started turning it into a business. I started doing parties and whatnot. Then eventually, people saw it. And I started doing graduation, sessions, because again, I was on college campus.
Right.
And so from there, one thing led to the next, and then I'm shooting weddings and this and that. So
I'm gonna tell you, my favorite is when you do the women that are pregnant.
Oh yeah.
That natural birth thing.
Yeah.
You were the first person I saw to do that, and it has just taken off. Now it's like, if you're pregnant, you gotta do a photo shoot.
Yeah, that's like my bread and butter.
Yes, I love it.
I'm not sure what it is. That's like my passion. And so, I love shooting everything else, but the whole maternity, photography, that's my passion. I love it. I can do that all day.
And now, obviously, I think I know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask you anyway because it fits so well with your story. You started out on college campuses. You took advantage of capturing the moments for the audience that you had. But once you developed your craft, apparently you said, you know what, I like the natural. I want to do. And so is that how you got into doing the not the birthings because they're not born yet, but doing those pictures for the mothers?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, pretty much what you just said. You know, I gradually had to get to where I wanted to go, and then even from there, again, you know, I didn't have a blueprint. I didn't know exactly what I liked and what I did not like. I just had to start, and so when I started, you know, one thing led to the next, and then boom, you know what? Hey, I like this. You know what? This, and then you know, my clients, they love the work. I love, you know, the energy that they bring. Even if they come in and they don't have the energy, I know how to, pull it out. Yeah, pull it out. You know,
you definitely know how to pull it out.
Yep. Yeah. So that's, and I think that goes for, you know, any entrepreneur out there, no matter what field you're in, like just get started and like start to put the pieces together as you take them. So you know, so this might not go with this, but eventually, if you keep on working at it, you know, things will come together.
They will. I think you have to be patient on it. And you have to follow your passion.
Yeah.
Because putting the pieces together could be a dangerous thing when you're doing something that you don't have a talent in, that you don't have a passion for.
Right.
You can quickly see, this is not my thing.
Yeah.
So let's talk about content creation and video quality, photography quality. I say it all the time, but I want them to hear it from an expert that says it matters. Does it matter? Can I use my phone? Does it matter what's in my background? Tell us seriously, does it really matter for my brand?
Yeah, it really matters, and especially for your brand. Now, if you're a family, if you're recording your kids playing soccer or football, that's different. But for your brand, you got to think about these other bigger names out here, right? And so, Walmart or whoever, they're not walking around, with the camera, okay, let's do a brand shoot, let's do this commercial with the camera and this and that. It's like, no, because that's not going to be visually appealing for your client or for your clientele. People might not come to Walmart, so you got to make sure you always have the best that you can produce out there. Yeah.
Which means you got to put it in your budget.
Got to put in your budget.
You can't not have it. You have to have a marketing budget.
Yeah.
Whether that's for someone to help you create your marketing plan or to have your content creation. But without those photos and videos, you can't make reels.
Right.
And how important is that for algorithms on Instagram?
Oh, that's like one of the main things that Instagram is pushing. They're going to push their features. And so if you're not using reels, if you're not using your highlight, I forgot what you call it, highlight tabs or whatever it is that Instagram is putting out there for their users to use, like that's what they're going to push the most.
And that makes sense.
Yeah.
They're pushing their products. So if you're not using their products, that's like, now I did hear that people were going to TikTok a lot. And they were reposting from TikTok on Instagram, and they were not getting the algorithms because TikTok and Instagram are competitors. So why would I allow your TikTok videos to be at the top?
Exactly. And I understand. I think we all understand why we do that. It's easier. We're trying to skip steps and take shortcuts, but sometimes shortcuts aren't the best. Like you really got to put in the work. Stop being lazy.
You cannot be lazy.
Cannot be lazy.
You have to say, this is my brand. My brand, I tell people all the time, it's the most valuable thing you will ever own. You want your brand to speak positive to you because you can't always defend it and say, oh, well, this day was such and such going on, or I just was trying to quickly. You don't want to have to defend your brand. You want it to look like quality.
Right.
Because for me, if your brand doesn't represent quality, your product or service is not going to represent quality.
Yeah. I like what you just said. So about treating your brand. So like ever since I even had a business, and even like people behind me, I always tell them, treat your business like your baby. So you don't send your kids to school on the first day of school, hair all jacked up, looking like whatever.
No school supplies.
So like make sure you're there and looking top tier. Or at least according to your budget.
Right, the best that you can.
The best that you can, but like real deal, make it marketable, make it because out in this field, there's thousands of other content creators, photographers, videographers, and like, how are you gonna stand out? you know? And so if you know they're coming with it, you got to come with it too.
You got to come with it. You got to come with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to know your industry in order to properly compete.
Exactly.
Because what's your differentiator if you don't know what your competition is doing? And looking at your competition doesn't mean that you're copying off them or you're stealing from them. You're looking at your competition to say, where do I have gaps? And I'm sure as a photographer, you may have looked at a lot of photographers that you thought were above you or doing really well to say, how can I really tweak my craft so that I can get better? You have to have a model.
Exactly. Everyone has a model, you know, especially for a small business. You know, small business owners, you know, our model are the big businesses. And, you know, what are they doing? Okay, so if, you know, such and such is doing this, let me make sure that, you know, I pay attention to how they do that. If I got to do my research, and that's put in the work, right? And then from there, okay, now I know how to present myself or run my business and, you know, and so forth.
And it helps you create your plan and see where you have gaps and say, where do I need to sharpen my skills?
Exactly.
What certification do I need to get? What more education? What book I need to read? Getting a beta test going. And so what you do primarily, I know you said your passion and what you're doing now is like the prenatal, doing the mothers for just coming into motherhood. You like taking those shots. But for our small business owners, what are some plans that you've seen work when you're working with them on their content? Because you do content creation as well as photography, right?
Exactly.
So talk to us a little bit about that.
I think it depends on that person's clientele. Like for me, my clientele, I try to make sure I focus on, you know, I guess corporations, what do you call it? Boutiques. I'm trying to think. So like I got a very specific target audience that I'm going for, just because I know they actually have some kind of structure. I'm not looking for, you know, Bob and Fred that's doing this and that, you know, or sense. You know. So I want my clientele to already have some kind of structure. That way, it's going to make my job easier because
and you can help enhance them because they already have a foundation.
Exactly. Now, you know, vice versa. If you're trying to work with somebody who's just now getting off the ground, or, you know, let me not say that. If somebody who really just doesn't have any foundation, we'll put it like that. You know, now you're stuck being the business partner. Really, now you're running their business.
That's so true.
You're running their business, and like that's going to burn you out so fast and make you not want to do what you're doing.
And it takes you out of your lane because you're like, this is where I'm strong. This is what I do. Like I need you to do A, B, and C, and then come to me for D, and I got you 100%.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like you can't. I don't want to dress you and tell you what to wear for your photo shoot. I need you to come prepared, knowing how you want your poses. And you even say that when you're booking, you like, if you have an example of the look you're going after, you need to unload that.
Give me your inspo. Give me your inspo. Give me your inspo.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that helped me a lot because it forced me to look at what is it I want my brand to look like? What kind of poses do I want? And so when you say that, I'm like, okay, let me go look and see what pictures I like. And when I get there, it makes the time go by faster and better too, because I'm like, okay, I want this pose.
Exactly.
I need a picture for this. Just like one time I brought my books. It was like I knew I was going to be talking about these books.
Exactly. You already had, you already knew what you was doing, you know, in the future. So boom, okay, we know we need this shot. We know we need this shot, and so forth. Because like I do that because, you know, starting off, you know, I used to have a whole bunch of people come in, and we're just, you know, free shooting, you know, doing whatever. And so now what that does, and I see a lot of other, you know, entrepreneurs and content creators do this, but they're shooting whatever. And I guess pretty much your clientele or your clients, they eventually can't use that stuff, you know, maybe no more than one time, or maybe they even come to your session and they wasted, you know, a whole 1, 2, 3, 4 hours, you know? And so they're wasting money, they're wasting time. And then what that does is it reduces your repeat clientele. I want my clients to come back. And that's why I'm so organized with the front end work. So send me your wants, your needs, send me your inspo pics, whatever other ideas you have. And nowadays, whenever you book, some clients do it, but I have, whenever you book, you get an automated, you know, email or notification saying that, okay, make sure you book a strategy call. That way we can talk about, you know, your wants and needs and whatever. Because sometimes people, they're lazy. Sometimes people, they're just gonna, you know, book and, you know, just show up. Nah, I need you to call me if you did not, you know, send me any other details. Let's talk about this. Because I feel like if I'm walking into a session not having any kind of idea of like what you need,
can't add value to them.
Exactly. It makes me not want to do my job, really, because I know I'm not being helpful. Yeah.
You want to be able to add value to what they're already trying to do.
Exactly.
I think your job is to tell the story, to capture it, to make memories.
Right.
And you can't do that if there's no vision for it.
Exactly.
And that makes sense. And that is a great thing to know, because everyone needs to know where they fit in that industry.
Right.
They need to understand, am I step 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5? Where do I fit and how do I add value in my lane?
Right.
And what I'm hearing you say is, you're an expert. You've studied your craft. You know where you add value. And in order for you to do your job and bring the value, I need you to do 1, 2, and 3.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's a strong business model.
Yeah.
Because now you know exactly who your customer is. You know how to make this work for them. You know how to make them a loyal customer, and you know how to help them get you referrals.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it's a smooth process. I mean, I referred everybody I know, like, you need to go to Antoine, you need to go to Antoine.
I appreciate you.
Because
you really do.
You know exactly what to do to take that weight off of them.
Right.
You're not stuck with 200 pictures, and you're like, okay, I did this photo shoot, so now what am I supposed to do with this?
Right. Right.
Figure that out on the front end,
Exactly.
then book your session.
Exactly. Yeah.
It forces you to have to think. But as an entrepreneur, you should be thinking about, where is my business headed and how do I capture those moments?
Yeah.
So speaking of capturing those moments, let's talk about your content creation. That's an additional arm that you have under your photography. So you take the pictures, but you can also create content for those pictures.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so like, you know, in this day and age, content creation is pretty much
Content is king.
Content is king. And whenever I say content, you know, I'm referring to photos and, you know, and visuals. And so visuals, I look at visuals as, like, personally, me, I look at visuals as your own personal commercials or whatnot.
Okay.
Whether they be short form or long, but they're your visuals. If you think about watching TV, you know, you got commercials on TV, you got commercials in between videos on YouTube, or your ads. And so that's pretty much what you're doing, because again, you know, you gotta look at what the big dogs are doing, and now use that same format and bring it to your business. And but yeah, so pretty much, yeah, I think that's you know, 100% needed, no matter what you are doing.
No matter what business
if you're selling candy, if you're selling homes and houses, whatever the case is,
you need those visuals.
You need
those visuals.
And the big reason for that is that's what grabs the attention of your viewers. Because like, you know, back before, you know, we did have visuals, we had pictures. And pictures, they're cool. Oh yeah, you know, this looks nice, or, you know, I love the lighting with this, or, ooh, I can feel the emotions in this picture. But it's different whenever you actually see the visuals, because the visuals, now you get to put, I used to sell cars. And
yep,
so,
you did.
You remember. And so whenever you sell cars, you take the people on a test drive, because you want them to see how it feels for them to take, I guess, pre-ownership of that.
Yes.
And so that's how I look at visuals, right? And so like the visuals, okay, so say for instance, if I'm selling the soap, you know, so I'm trying to make sure, okay, you know, you had a long day at work, or, you know, your hands stink or whatnot, you know, so I'm gonna use that visual to make sure, you know, you leave, I guess you finish the video knowing that you're gonna smell good. Or so, ooh, you know, I do need this after work. Well, I do need this when I get done, you know, playing with the kids or whatnot. And so, so it's your own ads.
Yeah, that's a great metaphor. I love that, because that is definitely exactly what you want to do to sell your brand, is to be able to use those visuals to be able to tell your story for your brand. How does your brand stand out? And you need content to be able to do that.
Right.
And so many business owners, unfortunately, don't feel like it's a big deal.
Yeah.
But it is.
Yeah, and then, and for the ones that don't realize that, those are the main ones that don't last as long. Because if you get on, you know, social media now, look at, you know, all the businesses and brands out there.
They're all out there.
Yeah, they're all out there. The ones on top, those are the main ones that actually have the visuals. They don't have just, you know, pictures, you know, going down the timeline, or pictures, you know, all on the website or whatever. Like, they got visuals. And those visuals, that's your wow factor, or I guess your first what do you call it? Your first impression. So that's your wow first impression. And so that makes people online be like, oh, you know what? You know, I know Chris, he needs this. I know Chris, he would love this. What you gonna do? Share.
You're gonna share.
You're gonna share, and
you're gonna share.
And Chris, he's gonna like it. Chris, he's gonna share it with his people.
Yep.
And so they're not sharing pictures like that. I mean, here and there, yeah, but the visuals.
But the visuals are it. Yeah. And for me too, I'll tell you something that the visuals do for me from a marketing perspective.
Right.
The visuals help you to see the expertise of that person. When you can show me what you're doing and how you're doing it, I'm more likely to trust your brand and your product or service. Because anybody can go on Canva and create a post and say, I'm the best at this, or I do this, and here's my pricing. But if I never see you in action, if I never see you doing it, then that's a problem. That's a problem.
And so, and I think that's why it's so important to use all the features on social media too. So like the stories, like use your stories. Your stories, like for me, I don't post, I post a whole bunch of personality stuff in my stories, right?
You do.
And so like I like to cook, so I'm plant-based. A lot of people think that that since you're plant-based, you got to eat nothing but grass and salads and stuff like that 24/7. But no, that's not the case. And so, if I'm making a plant-based pizza or plant-based pasta, now my clients that don't know, anything about plant-based food, now they see that, I'm like, oh, you know what, dang, that's good. Let me send this to such and such. Let me send this such and such. Now I use the stories or my visuals or my content creation to sell myself. And now since, they're sharing other stuff about me, now other people, they're gonna open up, that video and then, okay, who's this? All right, cool, let me go to their page. Oh, shoot.
That's where you
I gotta book him. He cold. You know what I'm saying?
That's exactly what happens. That's exactly what happens. So Antoine, how can our viewers get in touch with you? You've talked about some great things that we need to know as entrepreneurs, as small business owners, about content creation, about photography, about getting great visuals that are high quality, that really represent your brand. And I'm sure at this point, the light bulb has come on, because now I'm thinking about my winter set. Like, what am I doing for the winter so I can get ready for 2026? So to have that strategy call with you, to kind of lay things out and get prepared for the upcoming seasons, how can our viewers get in touch with you?
It's real simple to get in touch with me. You can get in touch with me on Instagram and Facebook. My first name and last name, Antoine Lever, Antoine, last name Lever, Lever. And whenever this comes out, be sure to reach out to me if you do need content creation. I'm doing $100 off my content creation packages.
Wow, $100 off. Listen, if you are not in the Memphis area, get yourself across the river, across the bridge, from South Haven, Olive Branch. Listen, you need this content. But nothing else, see the difference that it makes in the quality of your marketing on social media. Antoine, thank you so much for coming, my friend.
I appreciate you so much.
I hope I didn't take you away from too much. I know you're really busy. Thank you so much for coming. Until next time, there's two things you need to do. One, subscribe to this show, and two, share this episode. Until next time, this is Real Talk for True Entrepreneurs, and we'll see you next episode. This episode of Easy Talk is sponsored by Spotlight Productions. When it comes to quality, Spotlight Productions strives to deliver excellence.